Why the US economy hasn't crashed yet? Last year was a complete catastrophe for the US economy. Nobody has shaken the US economy as much as Donald Trump did last year. He introduced one of the largest tariffs in the history of the United States. US allies or the largest trading partners have moved away from the United States and signed multi-trillion-dollar deals with India, China, and other US adversaries. Almost every economist predicted that the US economy is going to get into a recession last year, and if that recession is going to last, then it can easily turn into a depression. But here we are in 2026, and the US economy is doing fine. In fact, the US GDP last year has actually grown. Unemployment rate is one of the most important indicators to measure the health of the economy. And the unemployment right now is about 4.3%. Well, 4.3% is not actually great, and the US economy has seen unemployment rates way below 4.3%. In the historical context, 4.3% is actually really great. Even right before the 2008 financial crisis, at the peak of the real estate bubble, unemployment was 4.6%. The only other times that it has been lower than 4.3% is right after COVID and right before COVID. Other than that, unemployment has been around 4.3%. For the economy to fall into a recession or a depression, worst case scenario, we have to see unemployment rate that is about 10%. And as you can see that the US economy is not even close to that. The real GDP, after factoring in inflation, has actually grown last year by 2%. Yes, 2% is not 5% or 7% as Donald Trump has claimed it's going to be. But overall, if you take that 2% and you put it in the historical context, you will see that it's actually not bad. In fact, it's actually really great. The US economy over the last 20 years has been growing by about 2%. The only 2 years where the economy has actually collapsed and had a negative GDP growth was either during the Great Recession or during COVID back in 2020. Other than that, the economy grows anything between 1 to 3%. And it's really difficult to grow the US economy by more than 3%, given how big the US economy is and how advanced it is. If you have a very poor economy, just by building the basic infrastructure, your GDP is going to grow really fast. But when you're looking at the US economy, that is the most advanced economy in the world and the largest economy humanity has ever seen, it is very difficult to grow it by anything more than 3%. So a 2% growth rate when there has been so much tariffs and so many crises last year is actually really great. Inflation overall last year was 2.7%, but recent data that came out for January suggests that inflation has been 2.4%, and this is a very important number. S&P 500 last year has grown by almost 12%. 12% is of course not great because over the last 3 to 4 years we have seen the stock market grow by 20%, but you have to take the 12% and you have to compare it to the historical context. Overall, over the last 100 years, the S&P 500 has been growing by 8 to 10%. So any number that is higher than 8%, we would consider that a really great year for the S&P 500. And if you actually been investing at the bottom of the market, because last year has been very catastrophic. In April, when Donald Trump announced the tariffs, the stock market crashed by about 20%. Everybody panicked, the market crashed. But going back to April and May of last year, you can see that the market quickly recovered and overall, it has been a very positive year for the economy. So the real question right now is that most people are complaining about the quality of life. Most people are complaining about prices. Most people are actually thinking or seeing how their lives is getting a lot more difficult. Well, if you look at the data, the economy is growing. And that's because the most important way that we measure the economy today is called GDP, Gross Domestic Product. And the main driver of the GDP is spending. If there is a lot of spending in the economy, the GDP grows. If there is very little spending in the economy, the GDP doesn't grow at all. So if you want to narrow it down to a single word, it is spending. And the biggest spender in the economy is obviously the US government. Nobody spends as much as the US government, and the government last year has spent about $7 trillion. The real question is that where does the government take the money to spend? Of course, it's taxpayers' money. The government raises money from the people like you, and it has to maintain the world's largest military, it has to build the basic infrastructure, and it has to pay the social securities. But if you look at the US government, the government over the last 7 to 8 years has been spending way more than it's earning. The government is earning about $5 trillion and is spending about $7 trillion. And last year, the deficit has been $1.8 trillion. And over the last 10 years, that number has been consistently rising. The deficit in 2016 has been $500 billion. Today, it's almost $2 trillion. So the government is literally just borrowing money and dumping into the economy to see the GDP growth. So as long as the government keeps spending trillions of dollars, especially when that money is borrowed, the GDP will continue growing, but that does not necessarily mean that a better quality life for you. The second biggest spender in the economy are the businesses. And businesses are spending because they're building factories, they're hiring more people, they're doing whatever they're doing. And all of those investments are actually driving spending, which means that they're driving the GDP. And since AI came out, companies are racing, spending astronomical amounts of money to be the first who are going to dominate AI. And last year, these companies spent the kind of money that you cannot possibly even comprehend. Amazon, $130 billion throughout 2025. Alphabet, $91 billion. Microsoft, $105 billion, and so on and so forth. And if you check all of their investments over the last year, it has been probably over $1 trillion. And these are just the investments that they have made on AI. We're not taking into account all other investments throughout the entire economy. And because there is so much investment without actual real returns, because we don't know how much this AI are going to earn. Yes, there are theories that AI is going to be the most profitable thing in history, and these companies could make a lot of money, but we don't know what is going to be their return on investment. But regardless, these companies are taking the bet, and they have invested over $1 trillion last year. In fact, they will continue spending this year as well. $200 billion by Amazon, $180 billion by Alphabet, and hundreds of billions of dollars by other companies. And as long as these spendings are happening in the economy, the GDP is certainly going to increase. The third largest spender in the economy are the consumers. These are the people like you, this is me, this is anybody else who is in the economy, is making money and spending that money. And as long as that money is being spent, it is going to contribute to a GDP growth. And the society is being divided now into two categories. The top 20% are seeing their wealth astronomically rise because they're getting wealthier as a result of inflation. When there is inflation, our prices are rising. Before prices rise in the grocery store and you complain about how prices are rising so fast, do you know what prices rise prior to them? Asset prices. The stock market reacts way faster than the grocery prices in the grocery store. And that's why the stock market is growing tremendously fast. And if you're in the top 20% and you are investing in real estate, you're investing in the stock market, and the stock market has grown by 30%, yes, inflation has been 3%, but you just made 30% out of the stock market. So you don't actually care about the 3% increase in prices. But the bottom 80% is being completely crushed by inflation because these people are getting poor because there is inflation. When you have a fixed job and your job doesn't actually pay you a lot of money, when prices are rising on one side, your employer isn't going to automatically increase your paycheck just because there has been so much inflation. So you have a fixed amount of paycheck while prices are rising across the economy and life is getting a lot harder. Prices are rising. It gets a lot more difficult for you to live on that exact paycheck. And that turns the entire economy into like a K-shaped economy. A K-shaped economy is when assets on one side are rising, which are actually making the top 10 or the top 20% of people extremely wealthy, while it makes everybody else at the bottom extremely poor because they're getting crushed by inflation. And it turns into this a K-shaped economy where the wealth gap between the rich and the poor keeps growing. And as long as there is the top 10% or the top 20%, as long as these people are making more money than ever, they can spend more money than ever. And at the end of the day, when you zoom out and you look at the GDP growth, you see that GDP has grown, even when 80% of the entire economy is actually suffering. It doesn't matter, because the way we measure inflation does not take into account whether everybody in the economy is spending tremendously. And that turns into the type of economy where you can only win when you are an investor. Imagine if you have been actually investing actively in the stock market since 2020. Just ask yourself a very simple question. Where would you be? Even if you had like $1 million invested in the stock market in 2020, that $1 million would have turned into multiple millions of dollars. Even if you are in the middle class and since 2020, every single month, you would be investing an extra $2,000 into the stock market. Just imagine for a moment how much money you would have today. You would not care about inflation, just like the rich people today don't care about inflation. Yes, prices are rising by 3%, but that means that the stock market is growing by 25 or 30%. So even though that prices are rising, my assets value are rising way faster than prices. And that's the position you want to put yourself into. And if you haven't started investing yet, then check out the Investing Academy. The link is in the description of this video. And it gets a lot worse when the economy is over leveraged, just the US economy is right now. When you have so much debt in the economy, loaning money is becoming a lot more riskier. So you have a much higher interest rates, just like the entire US economy has right now. And that means that if you have on one side rich people who have assets, they become the lenders. I have money, I'm loaning my money. On the other side, you have poor people who become the largest borrowers into the economy. And that means that because there are higher interest rates, poor people are paying a lot more interest to the rich people. So even though that poor people don't actually have much money left, the money that is left with poor people, their wealth moves to the rich people, because rich people in this kind of circumstances make more money than ever. And the US government has actually took a very strategic decision that it is going to sacrifice the value of the dollar at the expense of economic growth. When I told you a little earlier that the government is borrowing more money than ever, every time it does that, it erodes the value of the dollar. But because it drives spending on the other side, what does it do to the GDP? The GDP keeps growing. The real question comes back at the end of the day is that what will happen to the economy in 2026? Well, on one side, as long as these companies will continue spending trillions of dollars to build AI, as long as the government will keep borrowing trillions of dollars and keep growing that deficit, the GDP will continue growing, because the largest consumers in the economy will keep consuming, even though that the vast majority of people in the economy will be suffering. So the only way out you have out of this is not by waiting for the government to actually stop printing money, because I don't think that is ever going to happen. Just look at the US national debt. It is about to hit $40 trillion. And just a reminder that last year the government has passed a debt ceiling by increasing the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. And we're about to hit that ceiling one more time this year. And guess what the government is going to do this time? It will do the exact same thing that it has been doing all the time. Just increase that debt ceiling, raise that debt ceiling. So if you want to save yourself, just start investing. And if you don't know where to start, just check out the Investing Academy. The link is in the description.